All right, so we should sound beautiful now, everybody, lovely people. We should sound good.
Man, welcome in.
Madison just texted me and said I can't hear anything. Sorry, the audio was messed up. That's my fault. I didn't have it
That
set up yet. Sorry about that. We haven't started the podcast part yet. We're still kind of chilling
Well,
around. But
here's a recent
if
art.
anybody's rewatching this, and if you're in here right now, I want to say welcome to Peach State Pod, Peach State Tailgate podcast, sports podcast, where we talk about all your everyday sporting news, majority around the Georgia area. I know sometimes people rewatch this stuff on YouTube, so I don't want you to just sit here and be like, "Oh, these guys are a bunch of doofuses just sitting here." So
Sitting here talking shop.
sitting here with a backwards jersey on without no explanation. We'll get to it. Trust us, we'll get to it.
You don't need an explanation when you see that name on my chest.
That's a fact.
I found a snazzy little article here, written 16 hours ago.
Should we
Well,
discuss it? Yeah, or do you want to wait?
it's just about Ozzy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can see that
It's
in Braves Talk.
it,
Got you.
it's very very short,
Very,
but
very short, like Ozzy White.
hey, it's got a couple little timeline updates for the boys.
Okay. Very nice.
We I did not realize we go. Is it Mets? Who do we have next? Marlins.
We have Marlins, Mets, Astros, and you said it was an easy August, Kenny.
Easier than the Mets. The Mets go like Phillies, us, Yankees, I think. Dodgers. They have like they have us, the Phillies. I think they have the Phillies twice. They have us, they have the Yankees and the Dodgers all in August.
That is pretty tough. I mean, to be fair, we do have the Mets, the Astros, and the Cardinals for the rest of the month. And you throw the Pirates and the Marlins in there,
Yeah.
and then 2 games at the end. We end out against Colorado, so we can also talk about that a little bit. That's fine.
The Mets
See, it
September.
says we got some people in here. What's up, y'all? We haven't started the podcast stuff yet. We just discussing. Welcome to the Peach State Tailgate Sports Podcast. With me and Kenny,
Welcome in, welcome in.
two greatest hosts to ever do the thing. If they let us televise the Braves game, I guarantee you we'd be better than Brian Jordan. So
Yeah. So would our 4-year-old nephew.
facts, facts.
What is going on with Jeff Francoeur?
Frenchie signed a deal. He does bigger games now, and he's supposed to be on majority of the games. I don't know how come.
Yeah, well, he needs to figure his crap out because if Brian Jordan is the replacement, then we got to go hire somebody though. Like, give me
Facts.
Peter full time.
Oh yeah, Moilo is the bomb.
Just something. And who's Smoltz with? Is Smoltz with?
MLB Network.
That's right. Where the heck did you see the tribute video on on God dang, who was it? It was the Hall of Fame when we inducted what game was it? Was it the Mets series? No, because it was at home. I can't remember. You know what
You're
I'm talking
talking
about though? The
about
Hall of
you're
Fame
talking about
ceremony.
we inducted like Joe Torre and Leo Mazzoni.
Yeah, we inducted a few guys. Is Leo Mazzoni? Which one's the pitching coach?
Mazzoni.
Yeah.
Madison just said, love the stash, Kenny.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you. This might be the first time Madison's ever seen my face.
It is fire.
Who was it? Was it Tom Glavine or was it Greg Maddux that looked like a total creep?
Greg
One of them,
Maddux. Greg Maddux looks very creepy.
bro, that was weird. He was like, "Hey, coach, proud of you. Glad you made
Mm-hmm.
it in. Talk to you later."
Yep. Yeah, that's Greg
And
Maddux. He's a very strange looking individual.
Tom Glavine was like at the beach with a beer in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously John Smoltz, he's the GOAT.
Facts. Yeah, there's some pretty weird stories about Maddox.
I believe it. I don't know. Is he? Do we have? I don't have it pulled up. Do we have some viewers in the live?
It says we have one. Says we have Uno. Then let me know when you're ready for it, kiddo. We go ahead and get this thing kicked off. I think I'm in the
Got it.
mental capability.
Pulling my article up. Click on something right quick.
Like I said that, now all of a sudden I'm making something to drink. Not a alcohol though. No, not a alcohol.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said something like let's start it, and then now I'm doing something.
Do it, Jake. Do it.
No, not alcohol. No alcohol. Can't get too much Hall in my system.
Too much Aki.
Too much alcohol.
Apparently, Kenny Galladay has 2 drops tonight.
Damn. The score, is it still 10-7?
I don't have the game pulled up. I just saw Kenny Galladay was trending on Twitter. I was trying to see if he got hurt or something. That's a guy I was super high on.
Okay, it's 17-14.
Giants.
Yeah, Giants. How's my boy Zappy doing?
I heard a lot of people saying he's better than Mac Jones.
He was an absolute
Not-
stud in college.
Apparently, Mac Jones looks like dog water.
Remember
Apparently, the offense looks bad.
Remember all the pictures and videos and stuff of him being jacked?
Yeah.
Or, not jacked, but big. I'm not gonna say
Bailey,
jacked.
Bailey is 10 for 17 with 120.
I see that.
Apparently, the offense is horrible. And I didn't know that the Giants picked up Tyrod Taylor. He might start.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, I'm not gonna think. I don't think he's gonna start week 1, but he could easily be a guy that could be a starter by week 4, week 5. I don't think Danny Dimes has too long of a leash.
This is it for him, right? I
Has
guess
to
we
be.
should save this.
Yeah, probably so.
I'm ready when you are.
Alrighty. You ready to introduce? We live.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of the Peach State Tailgate Sports Podcast, a.k.a. As you can tell, we are big Vaughn Grissom fans here in the state of Georgia.
Let's go, Vaughn.
If you're living, breathing, and you're a baseball fan, and you're not a Vaughn Grissom fan, you might want to check your pulse, all right? Because we were, as Braves fans, we needed to acclimate ourselves to bringing another guy up. And you can't expect lightning to strike every single time we bring a guy into the bigs. But Lord, did it strike again? I mean, forget everything I said. I'm not tempering my expectations. I'm not limiting my beliefs. Vaughn Grissom is the greatest second baseman in Braves history.
I mean, the evidence is there. 500 career batting average. He's on pace for a 162. He's on pace for a 160 season. 162 home runs, 162 stolen bases. We'll get a little bit more talking to that. I'll let you continue with the introduction. And by the way, the stash and the jersey look fantastic, Kenny.
I just picked this one up, ordered it. It came in overnight shipped. So shout out to my supplier. I appreciate that.
Was it from Beijing or Shanghai?
Both. If you combine, it was from Bang Chow.
Bang Chow. Nice.
Yeah, I've also got a Stequavius jersey on the way too. So when they
Big
get
props.
here, I'll be rocking and rolling. But like we said, man, all jokes aside, welcome to episode 6. We're excited to be out here for another episode. We've got some more Braves talk for you. I know the last episode was a little bit shorter as far as baseball goes because there wasn't that much to talk about. But hey, look, the boys been playing good ball lately, so that gives us a good high note to head into the next series with. I know Jake has a lot of Braves notes, and we're excited to bring you some more content as far as that concerned. Before we dive into it, man, I want to say check us out on all the socials. Shameless plug if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the graphic right here to my right, your left. That is the Twitter at Peach State Pod. Check us out, give us a follow. We're posting some fire content on there. We're gonna try to keep that thing updated for you and let you guys know any breaking news or anything that goes on. Check us out on TikTok as well. I know we post some shorts on there, some videos on there for you guys to check out. We'll try to keep that updated as well. If you're watching on the YouTube, thank you so much. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to check us out on YouTube. If you didn't know, we do post all of our episodes on there as well as our live streams. You can look at us. You can see the amazing, very expensive, custom designed Vaughn Grissom jersey that I am wearing right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. And Jake, I'll let you take the floor.
Oh, it's my time to shine. Let's get her started. Okay, so Tuesday, the first game after the Braves had me feeling like the most sad person on the planet Earth after that after we lost 4 out of 5 to the Mets over the weekend. It was a much needed off day on Monday. That off day was really important for us. We really needed that after how we played. And
Absolutely.
it seemed like it was a good thing for the Braves. Tuesday night, the Atlanta Braves beat the Boston Red Sox 9-7. It was honestly one of the funnest baseball games I've watched this season, I will say. I had a great time watching that game. It was an amazing game. Like, I know as homers and as fans, you would love to see your team blow out teams 25-0 every single night, but obviously seeing a good game every once in a while is always fun. And it was fun all the way around. I wanted to start off by saying that Acuna, Riley, and Swanson combined for an 8-for-17 with 5 runs and 6 RBIs in the game, including I think Riley had a triple in the first and a bomb in the third, and he seemed like he had a legitimate shot at the cycle because he had the 2 hardest parts of the cycle. A little pre-context, he did not get there. He was a double shy. The single was easily the biggest hit of the night, though, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. Riley, like I just mentioned, he continues to mash, man. Riley has been amazing, and if he's not your 1 or 2 in the MVP race right now, I don't know what you're seeing. I know Paul Goldschmidt is having an insane season with like a 1,084 OPS or something stupid, but man, Austin Riley, what he's been able to do this year, continuing off of his success last year, he has turned himself into a top 5 hitter in the National League over the last 2 complete seasons. There's no doubt.
It's the best third baseman in the league right now, no question.
Charlie Morton. I wanted to mention Charlie Morton because it seems like every time the Braves offense scores runs, Charlie Morton gives up runs. Every time the Braves offense doesn't score runs, Charlie Morton goes 7 innings and gives up 1 run and loses the game. Charlie Morton with the run support, he had pitched 6 innings, he gave up 6 hits, 5 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. And that's off the Red Sox hit 3 home runs off of him, so they kind of had him teed up from the get-go.
Chuck,
Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know what it is with Chuck Nasty. I love Charlie, and he started off the year a little slow, and you started to see him get back to his old self, and he kind of regressed to the mean, I guess you could say. And obviously he's a veteran guy. He's been around, and he's got a lot of experience, and bringing him into the rotation was a big advantage, I would say, for us as far as just experience goes, because we're such a young team, specifically in the starting rotation. So when you see a guy like him come in and get run support and also give up runs, it's a little perplexing because it's like, come on, dude. Like, we're coming out of a series versus the Mets where we can't hit a beach ball with a tennis racket, and now we're giving you some good offensive play, and you're just getting shelled. So I hope he figures it out. I think he will. I mean, he's like I just said, he's a veteran guy. So I've got optimism for him, but still looking at the rotation, Charlie Morton is the number 4 guy right now, so he's still a really good 4th option.
Yeah, you give majority of the teams in baseball an option to have Charlie Morton as their 4th starter, and they are going to jump on that all day long. And it's kind of weird because last year, Charlie Morton, obviously, we all know he started off the season really slow, and there was people talking. But then down the stretch, Charlie Morton was awesome, and we had flashes this year of him coming back to his normal self, but it seems like he has these hiccups, and it's something that he hasn't quite been able to get around yet. I'm like you said, I'm still confident in Charlie. Charlie's a guy that, if you go into if he's a guy you have to pitch in a game 7 of a playoff series, then you are very, very confident in that game. Like he's that type of guy. He's an amazing postseason pitcher. So he's always a guy you'd love to have on your team. And even with his rough outing, we're still looking forward to seeing Charlie start games every fifth day. And he's gonna turn it around. I'm confident in that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So, I mentioned earlier in the 11th inning, Austin Riley's biggest hit I had talked about earlier. Austin Riley drove in Michael Harris and Ronald Acuna on an 11th inning single, I believe, and Acuna's slide. That's that I don't know how to put it in words, but Acuna. Everybody talks about Trey Turner's little slick slides where there's not even a contested throw at the plate. Acuna might have had one of the best slides I've ever seen in a Major League Baseball game, and
It was
I'm not
beautiful.
I'm not gonna steal your shine because you're the one that pointed it out to me, but I'm gonna let you talk about the whole Michael Harris aspect of the slide.
Well, I just heard, is it Franco, the translator?
Yeah, Franco.
Yeah, so Franco came out obviously at the end of the game because they wanted to interview Ronald and he translates for the guys. Franco came out and they asked Ronald what he was looking at because if you watch Ronald as he rounds third base, his eyes are locked like past the plate, it looked like, and it was like you could see Michael Harris telling him to get down, but it was pretty interesting because Ronald said he was just watching Michael, and Michael was literally showing him what to do, and they showed the replay. Because if you watched Ronald, he rounds third, comes directly up the baseline, swings it wide, coming into home plate, and then all of a sudden just like dips, dives to the left-hand side, slides through the inside of the plate, sticks his right hand out, completely avoids the tag, and just grazes the inner corner of the plate. And it was beautiful. And the entire time, you see Michael Harris is pointing at Ronald. So he's pointing straight at him. He points outside the baseline. And then he's saying, get down, and points to the inside of the baseline. So Ronald literally had a cheat code. He just went up, came down, slid, got the inner half of the plate, and was safe. And it was beautiful. And I mean, you're talking about a young guy like Michael Harris has the whereabouts and the wits about him to look at Ronald Acuna, who is one of the best players in the MLB, and show him exactly where to go. And with Ronald's speed and athleticism, man, it was beautiful. It was awesome to see. And shout out to Ronald too, because I feel like he gets a lot of negative talks about him as not being a team player and being a selfish guy because you see him showboat all the time. But to be able to look at your teammate and do exactly as he says, because he's obviously watching the play unfold defensively and tells you where to go, and you follow him exactly, and it's beautiful. And Michael Harris obviously is an amazing base runner as well. So those two guys are just a deadly 1-2 punch. But that was awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. It almost seemed like Acuna was sliding it to home plate sideways, and he had his right arm extended as far as he can go, and he just caught the corner of the plate. It was, like I had mentioned earlier, it was probably one of the best slides I've ever seen in a baseball game. And talking about Michael Harris and how he like shows himself on the field, I'm also going to bring Spencer Strider in this conversation. I feel like Alex Anthopoulos kind of knows his guys, and we have a good. I think Dana Brown is the Braves' new like scouting director, and it seems like the Braves kind of know their type of guy they're trying to go after. And it's kind of like guys that get to the major leagues at 21, 22, 23, and when they get here, they're already comfortable major league players day one. Like you see Michael Harris's approach at the plate. Obviously, in the outfield, he's an insane outfielder. It just seems like if you were to watch him play, you'd think this guy's a 10-year vet. And the same thing with Spencer Strider, even more so, I would say. You watch Spencer Strider on the mound, this dude might be the most locked in pitcher on the Atlanta Braves, and he's a rookie in the Major League Baseball. Like, he never shows emotion. He's 6 innings deep in a game, and he's still straight faced out there throwing 100 miles per hour. Not one drip of sweat coming off of him. This guy is just like Spencer Strider is like a robot on the mound. And every time he strikes him out, he does that little turnaround walk away, and it's just always has the same type of emotion on his face, which is nothing, just straight concentration.
Absolute dog.
Um, I do want to mention though, I believe in the 10th inning, Orlando Arcia had driven a run, and it seemed like it was going to be a double, but as he rounded first base, on whenever I was watching it live, it caught me off guard because he didn't slide into second. If he would have slid, it seemed like he'd been safe easily. And I was like, "What the hell, Orlando?" I saw he was hurt. He was grabbing his leg, and watching the replay, it actually happened about midway between first and second. He kind of held up a little bit, and props to Orlando for still making it semi competitive and trying to get the foot on the base. But Orlando Arcia is now he strained his hamstring, his left hamstring. He strained it, and it really really sucks to see him go down because he's been giving the Braves really really good ball lately.
He has, man. And, obviously we're about to get into it with Vaughn Grissom, but a guy like Orlando Arcia, who we talked about in the last podcast, and I think in multiple podcasts now, he's just a guy that you, there was a lot of attention at the Braves, really at the trade deadline. And specifically when Ozzy Albies went out with the injury, people thought we were going to try and get after like a top tier second baseman or just middle infielder in general for somebody to come in and fill in for Ozzy. And we never did. And it seemed like we were always comfortable with having Arcia there. And you saw it game in, game out, even with a little bit of a cold stretch there at the beginning or at the end of June. He played really solid ball for us, offensively, defensively. He hits nukes. He plays great defense. He's got a cannon. This guy is just about as good of a bench bat as you can get. So you put him in the starting rotation, and he gives you some positive play. Like it's you. It's not common to have a guy like that on the team that you can just plug and play, and he's going to give you top tier baseball. So to see him go down is super super unfortunate. And I'm happy to see that it's not anything too serious. It looks like it's a strain, and hopefully he'll get back pretty soon. But with Ozzy returning, hopefully in the near future, and Vaughn Grissom coming up and looking like a MVP candidate,
Yeah.
like I don't know what to say, man. It's like we can't miss right now when it comes to just throwing guys in the lineup. Everyone we throw in sticks.
Yeah, and I want to give props to and I can't say it's Kevin Seitzer because obviously I don't think Kevin Seitzer would have had like too much work to do with Vaughn first day. But it seems like Kevin Seitzer, the hitting coach for the Braves, is just a lock for if you bring in some random journeyman guy, they're probably going to come in here and their numbers are probably going to go up. It seems like everybody the Braves bring in,
Yeah.
they just instantly become better players. And even guys like Robbie Grossman, like we've already seen the impact right in limited playing time. It seems like Robbie Grossman hits a double every at bat. I checked the box score. I'm like, oh, Robbie Grossman pinch hit for Guillermo Heredia in the eighth inning. Oh, he got a double. Nice. And it's cool to see how Seitzer handles the guys. Obviously, the Braves coaching staff has to be up there in baseball, like top tier. I would probably say the best with Washington, Eric Young Sr., Kevin Seitzer. Obviously, we got Snit, Walt Weiss on the bench. Like even guys like Eddie Perez out there in the bullpen, like you have so many great coaches on that staff that can help these kids get up here. And I feel like that plays such like an instrumental part in getting these guys where they need to be.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about it all the time about people saying that the farm system is depleted, and it is, but for good reason. These guys come up and turn into big league players. So, I mean, I said it earlier when we opened the podcast that it seems like lightning can't just keep striking for the Braves, but it is. And it just goes to show that we may not have the number of guys throughout the farm system that we used to or that other teams may have, but the guys that we do have are just top tier prospects.
Oh yeah, I agree. And like it's guys that you wouldn't even think of. Like you look at you and I know he got roughed up a little bit in the game that we're about to talk about. But you look at a guy like Dylan Lee. I mean, even him, Dylan Lee seemed like he came out of nowhere last year, jumped on the scene. He made that start in the World Series, and he got hit
Exactly.
around a little bit. And now all of a sudden, Dylan Lee is a very very like instrumental part of this bullpen. So, the Braves are just very very good at finding talent, and that's credit to all over the organization. And it's awesome to see. Okay, how about we jump into Wednesday? So before the game on Wednesday, obviously Orlando went down with the left hamstring strain, so he got put on the 10-day IL. In results of that, Vaughn Grissom got called up from Mississippi. I believe Vaughn Grissom had 20 something games played in Mississippi above advanced A ball. So it seemed like a very very aggressive move at that point. And I saw over Twitter that people were kind of like giving hints at it, like, oh yeah, maybe it's Grissom time. I also saw the Andrelton Simmons talk that people were talking about bringing Simmons in to play second base because he just got DFA'd from the Cubs like last week. But I mean, I'm happy the Braves made the move they did. Like trying to talk about it from like a pregame standpoint. This is one of those situations where upside wise, you're better than any of the option out there. And honestly,
Absolutely.
I we're talking about bringing in guys that hit 230. So even Vaughn Grissom's floor is probably the same as what you're going to get from Andrew Simmons. Like I don't see Vaughn Grissom's a guy that has never hit below 300 in professional baseball. I don't see him as being a guy that's instantly going to drop to a 220 guy in the major leagues. I always thought the average was there. And I'm not going to get into it too much because we have a good bit of Vaughn Grissom talk. I'm also going to give myself a little bit of props because I know it wasn't podcast based, but I know Kenny can vouch for me. I've been a big Vaughn guy, and we had some conversations before the trade deadline about some Vaughn stuff, and I'm happy my thoughts didn't come through. But Adam Duvall got moved to the 60-day IL. That was to open up a 40-man spot, and we DFA'd Mike Ford. So I believe it was Kirby Yates and Vaughn Grissom that had taken those 2 roster spots that we created. That's what makes the most sense. Kirby Yates got recalled from his rehab assignment. He was pitching really, really good ball in Gwinnett, and it was about that time. So the Braves had a couple roster moves before Wednesday's game. Is there anything you want to add to that, Kenny?
Oh, I'm just happy to see Kirby back. I'm super happy and excited to see him in the bullpen. So this is a guy we've been waiting on all year. And like you said with the Vaughn Grissom, I'll give you props. You were on him before anybody else, so props to you. It seems like Jake. For those of you guys that are watching and listening, Jake is a stat wizard when it comes to Braves baseball, particularly in the farm system. Where Jake, it seems like in my circle, is always like the first guy that knows about these guys before anybody else. So I'm gonna give you props, Jake. You deserve it. So props to you for being on Grissom.
A lot of research, and there's some stats out there that just aren't fake. Like obviously, if a guy's down in Double-A hitting 40 home runs, that's awesome and all. But if he has a 37% strikeout rate in Double-A, this guy might come up and hit 150 in the major league level. So a guy like Vaughn, who has never struck out much in minor league ball, and he puts the ball in play a ton. He hits for a good average. The power is there. Everybody knows he has raw, untapped power. Kind of like what people were saying with Michael Harris. Not so much as Michael Harris, though. I think Michael Harris has a little bit more of the 5-tool aspect to him. A little bit more like superstar potential. But Vaughn Grissom has all the tools you need. Like if Vaughn Grissom at 21 years old, still room to grow, he can honestly turn into another 5-tool player.
Absolutely. And Vaughn Grissom, it's funny too because I guess are we gonna go ahead and dive into a little Vaughn talk?
Let's do this. Should we? Let's do the Braves game first. Let's go ahead and get the Braves game out the way so we can talk about what he did, and then we get into some Vaughn Grissom talk. Okay, so on Wednesday, the Braves I didn't put down the final score. I feel stupid.
8-4.
What is it? 8-4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Braves beat the Red Sox 8-4. Let's go ahead and get into the Vaughn Grissom stuff like from the game. Grissom became the first player in Braves history to homer and steal a base in his debut, and the youngest player to ever do that in Major League history. And I say youngest, but I think there's only 3 players that ever do it. So, it's kind of one of those funny stats out there. And this is not an ESPN stat, like one of those stats like, oh, Vaughn Grissom hit a home run on a Sunday at 4:27 p.m. with a butterfly on his nose. Like this is actually like a pretty legit stat. Like this is a cool one, a unique one. So that's a little bit of Vaughn stuff. Kyle Wright. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say one thing. Vaughn is the first Brave to homer in his major league debut since Austin Riley. So, and you see Austin Riley now is an MVP candidate and best third baseman in the league right now. So I see no reason to believe why that Vaughn Grissom is not going to be the next.
He's in good company. That's all we can say about that. Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright looked sharp. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. It was good to see Kyle back. Obviously, Kyle Wright's a guy that's always going to give you at least 6. I wanted to mention that is Kyle Wright's 14th win of the season, which now puts him in sole possession of the NL lead and only 1 behind Justin Verlander for the Major League lead, which is awesome. It seems like every time Kyle Wright pitches, the Braves win the game. And I think it's because Kyle Wright is so good at keeping games competitive. Even if he goes out there and gives up 2 or 3 runs, he'll pitch 7 innings and do that. Other than a couple little 5 or 6 run outings, I think he had one that started 2 ago. But Kyle Wright has been he's been such a revelation this year. And I saw people on social media putting out there, oh, Kyle Wright's our pick to click. But I mean, everybody's been saying that for like the past 3 years now. And this year it is happening. Kyle Wright is a legit major league starter. And I don't think he's going anywhere. Just the stuff he offers up, man. Kyle Wright, whenever you see him pitch, it looks like he's throwing 87 different pitches at batters. It's pretty crazy. I think they showed the graphic. He throws a curve, a slider, a sinker, a four seam, change up, everything. So seeing a guy that can go up there and throw all these pitches, kind of like Max. Max is the same way where he offers a whole lot of pitches. It's
Yeah.
always nice because like I always say, you can get to the third time in the lineup, and I think that's the reason that Max and Kyle go so deep. You can get to the third time in the lineup and throw a guy a pitch he hasn't even seen yet. Three at bats into the game.
And he throws strikes. Everything he throws, he puts in the strike zone. And he limits walks, which is just another thing, a testament to how good this guy is and how young he is. Like you just mentioned, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run. He only walked one batter. This dude throws strikes all game long, and he throws whatever he wants.
Yeah, and it's different than the Kyle Wright of old. Kyle Wright, when he first came up, I'm not gonna say he gave me the faulty experience because Mike Foltynewicz was an absolute head case on the mound at times. And this is no disrespect to Mike Foltynewicz. I will always root for him. I know he went through some, personal situations. He had some type of mental thing going on, and he openly talked about it, like an anxiety thing. So this is no disrespect to him. He was a really, really awesome guy. Anytime I ever met him in Gwinnett and stuff, he was the bomb. And obviously he was an all-star with Atlanta one year, I think back in like 18, which is awesome. But Kyle Wright has got that down pat now. Like that's not even an issue. Back like last year or 2 years ago, Kyle Wright, if he would have walked a batter, it would have turned into a 4-run inning because he is out there and now he can't throw strikes. And when he does, it's a slider hanging right down the middle of the plate. So the turnaround Kyle Wright has been able to make, and I honestly think it was that start. It wasn't even a start. It was him coming in for Dylan Lee last year in that World Series and pitching like 5 innings shutout ball. And I feel like that was the turnaround Kyle Wright needed. It has been awesome to see.
Well, and it's not like I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm expecting the same exact thing from Ian Anderson because obviously Kyle Wright is pitching at an incredible level right now. But it just goes to show with this Braves development and the way the Braves coaching staff can work these players. Kyle Wright comes up, gets shelled a little bit, goes back down to AAA, figures his stuff out, comes back up, and turns into the player that he is. So when you have a guy like Ian Anderson who has been great for a long period of time and seems to kind of lose himself a little bit, and then now he's going to pitch in the doubleheader coming up this weekend, but then he's going back down to AAA and going to get a couple starts there. It makes me feel optimistic about his situation because Kyle Wright's already done it. So if Ian Anderson can just come back at a fraction of what Kyle Wright is and take hold of that fifth spot in the rotation, he seems like he's in a really good mental state about it. He's got a really good attitude about going back down there. So if he can go down, figure his stuff out before he comes back up, um, that's going to be a game changer for this Braves team headed into August
Oh, I agree for sure.
or
One
September.
Yeah. One thing that I did see that people were talking about, apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but people were talking about how Ian Anderson had kind of like tweaked his delivery this offseason. And I feel like one result it has had is that his changeup has not had nearly as much bite on it. He's having a really hard time to get batters to chase that changeup like he used to. And whenever a batter's not chasing your changeup and all you really feature is a changeup and a fastball, it's not really a good situation for you because they're not really gonna you don't have any swing and miss pitches. Like you can't throw anything at them that they're going to swing and miss at. And I know that near the end of last year, Ian Anderson ran into a little bit of trouble, and his peripherals aren't very good, and they've never been good. But everybody just thought, okay, this is a guy that doesn't strike out many people. He walks a good bit of people. He gives up contact, but somehow he makes it work. And this year seems like the first year that it's kind of came back and bit him in the butt. And I'm hoping that he can go down to AAA and figure it out because we love Ian. Ian, again, he seems like an awesome guy. Another guy that I met before, he was great when I met him. So we're rooting for him, and just postseason wise, he has been such a beast for the Braves pitching postseason. Like I think you look at his stats, he's like a top 5 postseason pitcher of all time. So if we can get that guy right for a postseason run, let's do it.
You never like to see a guy like that struggle and get sent back down to the minors to figure stuff out. But if there's a time to do it, it's at this point in the year because baseball is all about who's hot come October. So if we can get this guy rolling coming into September and he can get back up here to the big leagues and play some decent ball and take hold of that fifth spot in the rotation, that's going to be huge for us. And that just goes to show what we talked about in the trade deadline reaction podcast episode that we did. Um, props to the Braves for having the whereabouts to bring a guy in like Jake Odorizzi. I know he didn't have a stellar outing in his first pitching in his first start for the Braves, but to see a guy like Ian Anderson go down and you have a guy like Odorizzi to take that spot and get some starts while he's gone, that's huge.
Yeah, with this Braves lineup, you just need a guy that can go in there and keep you competitive. Honestly, other
Yeah.
other other than unless we're facing Max Scherzer or Jacob DeGrom, it seems like because somehow, I mean, I'm not gonna say somehow, but we couldn't touch them. We got to figure that part out first. But I mean, majority of baseball teams, if you have guys that can, keep you in the game, and you have a lineup like the Braves, it gives you a really really good chance day in day out. So a guy like Odorizzi who's gonna come out there, he's gonna pitch, consistent ball. I mean, I know Astros fans are saying, "Oh, this guy's trash," but I mean, a 3.7 ERA, I'll take that all day for a fifth starter.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, fifth guy in the rotation with a sub 4 ERA. That's sign me up.
And it's funny that we talk about Anderson so much in, this fifth starter spot because even if Anderson turns it around, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to have a hard time. Like, I know the postseason success is there, and, you never know when injuries can hit. Obviously, we'll talk about one a little bit later. The Braves had another injury come up today. But at this point right now, I don't know if the Braves like you don't start 5 guys in a playoff series. Any given playoff series, you don't start 5 guys. And who do you take out? Like, obviously, I would think that in a 3-game series, I'm sorry, Charlie. In a 3-game series, we're running out Freed. I would probably go Strider 2, and I would let Wright go 3. And that's just because I don't want to put Strider in a big game situation.
Yeah, that's not even a conversation for me. I agree with you.
Um, Back to the game a little bit. I did want to mention this. This is in my notes. Marcel Ozuna blasted a ball 483,000 feet. So I don't know the actual distance of it, but I believe he also struck out twice in the game. So I'm not going to be too excited about it. I'm not going to say it's a turnaround yet, but it was good to see Marcel give a little bit of run production. And obviously, it was a big shot. Anytime you put 3 runs on the board, it's an important home run. So props to
And
Marcel. It was nice to see him blast one.
he had a big sack fly too. I mean, 4
He
RBI
did. He
night from
did.
Marcel.
Yeah. Marcel's a guy. He hits the ball hard, and I'm not gonna say he's turned it around because the batting average is down below 220. But we as Braves fans, we should all hope that he does turn it around. So that's what we're gonna do right here. We are going to hope that this is a Marcel Ozuna turnaround, and he's about to go on an absolute rampage the rest of the season.
Talking about Wednesday's game too, to kind of round it out, I had a couple notes I wanted to go over. There's a couple guys in this Rays lineup that we've seen become hot here lately, and they've really kept it up. So in this 2-game series against Boston, Ronald Acuna 4 for 10 with 3 runs and a walk. The dude's out there playing some really really good baseball right now. So I am boy, is it good to see Ronnie back? We needed him so bad. You saw people talk about taking him out of the leadoff spot, and it's going to change the lineup a lot. So he got hot at the right time. Man, I just pray that he can keep it up because he is playing some really, really good baseball right now. And Eddie Rosario keeping it up too. 2 for 5 in the series with a couple RBIs. I think he drew a walk as well. So 2 guys that have kind of maintained their hot streaks, and I hope that they can carry this in because this is, we talked about it last week or last episode. This NL East race it's just at the point of if we drop a couple games and the Mets pick up a couple, it becomes out of reach. So if we have any hope of regaining this NL East and competing to win it with a couple series against the Mets left, these are 2 guys in the lineup that have to be staples for us. They have to play good. We can't afford to have a weak spot in our lineup. And I just hope that these guys can keep it going.
Yeah, I agree. Ronnie's one of those guys that whenever he's on, he can carry your whole team. And I still don't think we've seen Ronnie on like we normally are. Ronnie has been hitting the ball well, and he hit that home run. But Ronnie has been hitting a lot of singles lately, and that's no complaint. But whenever Ronnie starts putting the ball in the air and he starts going on with them tears where he hits 5 home runs, 6 home runs in a week, that Ronnie is the one that can carry this Braves offense. The singles are fine. Don't get me wrong. You are hitting singles in front of Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley, and Matt Olson. And no matter how cold the lineup gets, it is very hard for any team in baseball to keep those 3 guys cold all at one time. I know Matt Olson. Matt Olson, he's been up and down. Obviously, I was at Kitty's house and we watched Matt Olson seem like he hit a 440-foot shot and it died at the track. Kind of upset to see that. We were all amped up for it, and then it just died. We had one of the classic Chip Carey moments where he was all amped up for it too, and it didn't work out well. But he's still hitting the ball hard. We love Matt Olson. I don't think there was a better guy to bring in to replace Freddie. We love you, Freddie, too. I know that Braves fans have an issue with him leaving, and you know, rightfully so if that's what you believe. But Matt Olson seems like he's the guy, and obviously he is. He's here for the next 8 years, I believe.
Yeah, and that Fenway Park is the only ballpark in the MLB that keeps that ball in.
Yeah, it was. That was all I have for it. So I know you wanted to talk about Grissom a little bit more. So I'll let you take the wheel.
So rounded out to finish this, a couple guys I wanted to talk about. We talked about Eddie. We talked about Acuna. We talked about Ozuna. Dansby and Austin Riley. These guys have been good all year. They won a combined 8 for 22 in this series with 7 RBIs between the both of them. That's amazing. And then Michael Harris, man, we've seen him be good all year. He hasn't slowed down at all. 3 for 8 in this series with an RBI, 2 runs, and a walk. So we've got the right guys playing good ball at the right time. So these guys, man, we really need them to keep it up, especially headed into the later months of the year. And that leads us to Mr. Vaughn, the man of the hour, the man of the episode. You see the jersey, I'm wearing it right now. I'm representing for the dude. Vaughn Grissom, man, in his first MLB appearance, in his first start, he went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 2 runs, and a stolen base, and hit a moonshot over the monster.
An absolute tater with an absolute insane bat flip.
Oh my goodness, he threw the bat to Mars. It was amazing. It was like one of those MLB The Show type bat flips where he swings and in the same stroke just pitches that thing, and it was gorgeous. And you saw all the prerequisites, people talking about Vaughn Grissom before he come up saying, oh, he hits for average, he's a good defender, he's going to give you some quality defensive play, but he's not the power hitter. He's not going to hit these towering moonshots like Michael Harris. And I'm not saying that he's Michael Harris, but the dude comes out there and hits a nuke in his first game, his first big league hit. So that was great to see. Kind of break the narrative a little bit for Mr. Vaughn. So obviously, you've heard what I have to say about it. Vaughn Grissom, he's a stud.
Yeah, and he looks the part too. I mean, you see him on the field, everything looks comfortable. They play like I know I had mentioned this to Kenny yesterday. We were texting a little bit during the game, and even you go to a single he had hit, I believe in the 8th inning. It was a 2-strike. I think it was a 1-2 count, and they threw him a slider down and away, and he stuck with it and roped it to left field for a single. Like as a guy that's making his major league debut, to stick with something. I mean, that's a pitch that we saw guys like Dansby Swanson and Austin Riley struggle with for a year or two before they even got Dansby Swanson. You could say he struggled with that pitch all the way up until this year. So I mean, that's always fun to see. And I just kind of sidetracked myself a little bit in my head, so I'm going to talk about it too. I was looking at some stats of it was like hitters against their best pitch, and Austin Riley was the best hitter in baseball or the second best hitter in baseball against both sliders and curveballs, which is pretty insane to me, knowing his past troubles he had with the breaking ball whenever he first came up.
He's always been a fastball killer.
And now all of a sudden he's just sticking with pitches and tatering things. One thing I noticed with Austin Riley, and I kind of said it last year, is that I feel like when Austin Riley first came up, he was going up there trying to hit the ball at 500 feet every single swing. And I think it took Austin Riley to figure out, okay, I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'3", 245. I can take a pretty nice, easy swing and drive the ball to the fence and hit and settle with my little 420-foot shot. And you see Austin Riley now, it's such a different approach than what he used to come up with. Like Austin Riley's putting up competitive at-bats. He's a guy that has no problem slapping the ball the opposite way for a single. And, he just turned into an all-around great hitter.
He's incredible.
So I think that's enough for the Wednesday talk. Obviously, Vaughn Grissom again. Thank you, Vaughn. We're gonna talk about little Vaughn. Today, there's no game today. The Braves have an off day today. If you're listening to this on Friday, podcast side of things, we're talking about Thursday. We had an off day. We're going back to Albies. We done lost the Grissom. We're done with the Grissom. We're going to Albies. I respect it. Today the Braves announced that Max Fried got placed in the 7-day concussion IL. I think it's retroactive, so I think retroactive back to like 2 days. So I don't think Max is gonna miss a start because they announced the starters for the Miami series. I believe it is who is it? Odorizzi game 1, Anderson game 2, the first game of the doubleheader, Strider game 3, the second game of the doubleheader, and game 4 is Charlie Morton. So I'm pretty sure Fried should be right back in the rotation. I think they'll let he'll either pitch Monday or Tuesday, somewhere in there, which is going to be good to see. For the move, we called up reliever Jay Jackson. Jay Jackson's been a guy, he's been hurt most of the year, and I think he just went through a rehab too, and he got optioned down to AAA as soon as the rehab ended about a week ago. Jay Jackson's a major league guy with some major league experience. He'll go right in the bullpen, fit in until Max gets back. Just a little bit more depth in the bullpen. A guy that you can pitch in a situation if you have to and be pretty comfortable with it. But yeah, Max is on the 7-day concussion IL. We got Jay Jackson on the roster for the doubleheader. Let's go.
Fried absolutely just wrecked his dome off of the grass. So I hope he's all right because he definitely took a hard hit there.
There were so many memes going around Twitter about Max Fried that day, and I felt bad honestly because the guy was trying to make a play that 99.8% of pitchers probably wouldn't even try to attempt, and it didn't work out very well for him. It was a goofy looking play. Obviously, Max Fried is the best fielding pitcher in Major League Baseball. I think he's won back-to-back Gold Gloves now. He's an amazing fielder, but that him going down to try to hit that bare hand falling throw to the catcher and it goes like 2 feet and it just it was a little blooper moment. Obviously, Max, we hope you're okay. You know, hope you start feeling better. We can't wait to get you back in the rotation, but got to call you out on that one a little bit. It was a little bit funny looking play.
It was definitely goofy.
Is that on the Braves side? I have two things MLB wise, and it's just quick things that I would like to get into.
I just wanted to touch on Ozzy Albies.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead.
So obviously Ozzy goes down with the foot injury. And they released a 6 to 8 week timeline, and then they kind of backpedaled on it a little bit and said that they're being a little bit more cautious with him. So I wanted to kind of talk about the injury that he had. He had surgery, so they're giving him a little bit of extra time to recover. Like I just mentioned, a full 10 weeks from the date of surgery is kind of a more conservative timeline for him. So I wanted to look at some potential dates that Ozzy could be back in uniform. So if they give him the full 10 weeks, like they mentioned, that'll put Ozzy at getting back in the bigs around August 24th. And then obviously you go week by week after that. So it's looking like timeline wise, if you go, whether they go 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks, it seems like the latest we would see Ozzy back in this lineup would be September 14th. So I'm looking at September 7th. That's 12 weeks from surgery for Ozzy. That gives him a really, really good recovery time. Obviously, the final game of the regular season for us is on October 5th. So if we could get Ozzy back by that September 7th timeline is kind of what I'm thinking. That'll give him just under a month to kind of get his wits about him and get his feet under him and get his play figured out headed into the postseason. So look for Ozzy to come back early September.
I agree. I'm gonna go towards the August 2nd. Usually, and the only reason I'm saying that is because most of the time in baseball, it's kind of a weird thing, but you see a lot of guys always get brought back on homestands. I think it's just kind of more comfortable for them to come back. And
What dates are you talking about?
I'm sorry, I said August 2nd, September 2nd. That is my apologies. We're playing the Marlins at home that Friday, and like I had mentioned, usually you see guys come back during homestands. It's not very common. Like usually during a long-term injury, you'll see guys pop back in right on cue.
Yeah.
So,
well, that would make sense timeline-wise. That would put him right there at the 11.5-week mark since surgery. So that gives him plenty of time if you're going based off of that 10-week timeline that they gave us originally.
Yeah, and we're at an interesting point in the year too because you honestly you don't want to wait too long because you want this guy to get some regular season time in before the postseason comes around. But I mean, we're also at the point right now. If Vaughn Grissom comes out and is Babe Ruth for a month, you're going to be feeling like, okay, maybe we don't have to rush Ozzy back. Now, obviously, there's other things around it. I don't know what's going on inside the organization. I've heard little chirps and stuff. This is all just social media people talking about how Vaughn might move to left, even though he's never played a professional game in left. But I mean, there's a lot of different options the Braves could go to in that aspect. But honestly, anytime you add a guy like Ozzy Albies to your team, it is a plus. It's like a trade after the trade deadline, as Chip Carey would say. So give a little Chip Carey reference. And it's actually Chip Carey likes to say it's like making a trade without making a trade. But I mean, we're past trade deadline, so it's a little different here. um, so yeah, Ozzy's going to be coming back soon, and he is going to be back to his normal self. I am confident in that.
Absolutely. Can't hope for anything less.
Okay, so MLB. I just wanted to talk about Pirates Rodolfo Castro a little bit. What
Yeah.
an absolute stud or clown, whatever you want to say, for sliding into third base and his phone falls out of his back pocket. I don't know if they've came up with like any punishment yet. I know that they said they were going to look into it. I don't know if they've came up with anything yet. It was actually funny how it went down because the umpire kind of like stood there and he gave like a little point towards the ground. Like I would figure like, okay, you're out the game. Like I feel like if I was an umpire, like okay, you're done. Like we've already had plenty of cheating scandals in the past, and I don't know if the Pirates are one of those teams that are out there cheating, but let Jose Altuve slide into third base and the phone falls out of his pocket. You know how crazy Twitter would go.
That's exactly what I was about to say. If it wasn't the Pittsburgh Pirates, this would be talked about a whole lot more.
Yeah, we're treating it like it's a joke because it's the Pirates, but you imagine like Will Smith from the Dodgers slides in the third and he has a phone in his back pocket. Like everybody's gonna be talking about it. Like, okay, the Dodgers are cheating.
Yeah. The fans would be pissed. Fans would be raving. Pull this guy. This is a disgrace to baseball.
Hall of Fame game. I said why do I have it I was stuck on our last podcast. Field of Dreams game. I don't have much about it because it is the Cubs and Reds, and that is all I have about it. What an absolute terrible Fields of Dreams game. This is like honestly, I like the Fields of Dreams game. It's cool seeing the introductions. I will even go back and watch the introductions, but I am not going to watch this baseball game. Obviously, it's live right now as we talk, but you know, I will go watch some guys come out. I love the introductions from last year. Obviously, last year was the Yankees and White Sox, and I can't say so much about the White Sox this year because they're kind of trash. But last year that was like a premium matchup, and then we go into this year and we get the Cubs and Reds.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected, but I thought we were going to see like White Sox Yankees year in year out, which I would have preferred
As it should
way
be.
more over this Reds Cubs matchup that they gave us this year. That just kind of seemed random to me. So obviously we're not excited about it, and I don't think anyone else is.
No, and you better enjoy it this year because it will not be played next year. There's gonna be construction going on at the Field of Dreams, so they won't be playing it next year, but it'll be back after that. So next year they're gonna be off. I did want to mention I watched the video on Twitter earlier today, like as it was going down, and I don't know if you had seen it, but Ken Griffey Jr. and Senior coming out of the corn at the same time was a really cool thing to see. Obviously, I love Junior. We're getting the 99 Junior and MLB the Show tomorrow. Can't wait to grind that little gaming reference out. But yeah, it was awesome to see the father son duo come out and make their entrance from the corn.
That's like the best thing about the Field of Dreams games is seeing people walk out of the corn,
That is
and
it.
that's literally the highlight. And obviously, we had a good game last year, so we just talked about this one not being as exciting. But yeah, no, we'll definitely tune into that and watch the replays because that's always a cool thing to see.
Did you ever watch the video I sent you about with the little kid talking about corn? He was like at the fair and he had the little corn in his hand. He was like, I
Oh
like
yeah,
he was like, it's just about cone. I just like cone. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the Field of Dreams game. If you have not seen that video, just look up. I think they had posted something about it like on social media, like MLB or one of those things had posted that same like a little clip from that same video for the Field of Dreams thing. And it honestly, it might be one of my favorite videos I've seen this year. So, if you haven't seen the little kid sitting at the fair with his little corn on the cob, he gives like a whole 2 minute and 30-second breakdown of how come cone is his favorite thing. So, the little outside of sports thing, you need to check it out. It will definitely put a smile on your face.
fried chicken. I just love fried chicken.
It's just fried chicken.
Who doesn't love fried chicken?
All right, let's get to the big boy league. NFL. I have a couple notes written down, Kenny. Do you have anything that you would like to talk about outside of betting?
Well, I wanted to talk about Malik Willis.
Yeah, that's a live one going on right now.
Yeah, it's a live one. He is out of the game. His I just had it in front of me. See if I can find it. The dude balled out. I saw he had here it is. In his preseason debut, Malik Willis goes 6 for 11, 130 total yards, and 88.1 passer rating and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, 38 yards on the ground. Yeah, Malik Willis is going to be a problem, I
A
think.
lot to say for a guy who's not getting any help from the starting quarterback because Ryan Tannehill, it's not his job to train up the guys underneath him and be a mentor.
That is so true. And it's so funny because I think let's go. Live update. Patriots just tied the Giants with 4:50 left in the fourth quarter. We'll get to a little bit
Ooh.
of betting stuff a little bit later. Actually, correction. Extra point. 21-20 Patriots.
Here we go.
So back to the league. What did we? Okay, now Malik Willis. Okay, the Steelers. I think everybody had felt like the Steelers might go Malik Willis at 20, and that was including me. I thought Malik Willis was going to be the first guy off the board, and whenever the Steelers got there, Malik Willis was not off the board yet. I felt like that was going to be their pick, and they took Kenny Pickett. And all the reports I've heard coming out of camp is that Kenny Pickett looks like absolute dog water. So
Well,
honestly,
I saw Pittsburgh reporter Mark Cabally. I'm not sure. He's been there for a long time. But he reported that it's pretty much a lock that we're going to see Mitch Trubisky starting week 1. And that as of right now on the depth chart, Mason Rudolph has locked down the backup spot. So the only real competition in Steelers camp right now is for the number 2 spot, and it's between Kenny and Mason Rudolph. And right now it looks like Rudolph's got a hold on it. And obviously he has the experience. And I'm a Kenny fan. I think Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback. Obviously, he was a Heisman candidate in college, broke all Dan Marino's records, which is crazy to think about. But I think he'll be a good player. But when you bring in a guy like Mitch Trubisky that you're paying, I think like $16 million to, he's gonna play.
yeah, definitely. And people forget about Mason Rudolph because obviously Mason Rudolph's kind of a meme quarterback in the NFL, but I think I want to say that Mason Rudolph had came in and did not have a quarterback coach whenever he was playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to say they had got rid of their quarterback coach and they didn't have a quarterback coach during that season whenever Myles Garrett bashed him on the head. So considering Myles Garrett bashed your head in with your own helmet and you didn't have a quarterback coach, you were kind of destined for failure.
Literally.
um so I have a couple notes. Is that all you have on the league?
Yeah. Aside from what we're gonna talk about at the end.
Okay. I want to start off with Falcons. Lions coach Dan Campbell, absolute legend, came out and said that he had a conversation with Arthur Smith, and they plan on playing their starters for around a quarter to start. So we'll see some starters from that game. Honestly, starters in this game are like I don't know how excited I am. I mean, we're gonna get a little golf, a little bit of Marcus Mariota. It's gonna be one of the better quarterback matchups you might see in the preseason. Honestly.
Probably.
Probably week 1 preseason, one of the better quarterback matchups. But so that's gonna be cool to see. We're gonna get to see some of our guys come out there and ball out for a quarter. I think Arthur Smith had a quote and said that he's not going to have Grady Jarrett out there against a third string right guard just destroying him. So, I think they kind of have like a little gentleman's agreement in this game. Like, let's not beat up each other's guys. Let's play our starters and let's get our second and third string guys in, you know, as the game goes on, which I like in preseason where nobody's out there to win football games. You're out there to get your young guys reps to see who makes the team and kind of get your veterans into that, weekly mojo, getting in game prep and all that fun stuff. So it's a good move, honestly. I don't want no Falcons fans to get down hurt for any stupid injuries in preseason. And I don't want no Lions guys to get hurt for stupid injuries in preseason. You never like to see that. You never like to see big injuries in meaningless games. So, props to them for making that agreement.
On the entire country right now are Lions fans. If you haven't, check out Hard Knocks on HBO. Every year, obviously, if you're a football fan, a sports fan, NFL fan, you probably have seen Hard Knocks if you don't watch it religiously like I do. When you talk about a guy like Dan Campbell, Motor City Dan Campbell, the
MCDC.
biting your kneecaps off in a presser after the game. Just a super gritty guy. I think the team motto for the Lions this year is grit. They just have that grit everywhere, all over the locker room, all over the meeting rooms, and he's the perfect guy to bring that to you. So if you haven't, you need to check it out. Hard Knocks is awesome. The first episode came out last night. It's a banger. And they just obviously it's about the Lions, so they kind of go into depth, and you really get to see that coaching staff. So everyone's high on the Lions right now. I'm excited to see them play the Falcons and get some starter action. So I'm pumped for that game. And dude, MCDC is an absolute animal. The team did 40 straight up downs consecutively. and he did all 40 with the team. Didn't break stride one time. Had a wrist brace on. Said, "Oh, I was walking through the house, man, and I stepping over the little baby gate, man, and we had 3 or 4 of the little dogs standing there. And I tripped over him, man. I fell down. I caught myself. I think I broke my wrist. I think I broke my freaking wrist." So the guy was like, "Man, I told the guys I was gonna come out here to the up downs with them. Like, I don't know if I could do it." So I went to the trainer. The trainer put some tape on there. I didn't know we were doing 40 up downs. Are you kidding me? But dude, absolute dog. He did every single one of them. Never broke stride. He looks like an absolute animal. So the fact that it's a Falcons versus Lions football game is exciting, and I'm just happy that it's not a Artie Smith versus MCDC cage match because it'd be a rough one for the Falcons.
To be honest, TJ gets his gets his first quarter in. We might see MCDC enter the game in the second quarter as the tight end. Whenever Hawk gets a little winded, gets a little, gets his little 2 or 3 catches in, love TJ Hawkinson, big fan right here. But you might see a little MCDC enter. So,
Thinking Dan Campbell at quarterback.
Just do it. I mean, it's probably the best option. Better than David Blau. So
can he throw and catch the ball himself? Probably.
I don't see why not.
If anybody can, it's him.
So next thing on my agenda, Roquan Smith. It is a Falcons dream to see Roquan Smith put on an Atlanta Falcons uniform. Obviously, he requested a trade from the Chicago Bears. I believe it is due to contract negotiations. He said they were not very kind in their offers. I don't remember the exact term he used.
They weren't negotiating in good faith.
Good faith. That is exactly the word I was looking for. So, we're about to see Mr. Roquan possibly be traded before the NFL season, which is going to be huge depending on the team. And I would love to see Roquan be in a Falcons uniform too, but I have one rule, and it is that if the Falcons were to pay a linebacker, Foye Oluokun would still be an Atlanta Falcon right now. So that's my one reason why I do not think that we are in on this. We had a guy that I would consider close to the same tier as Roquan, already in the system, already wearing the green dot on the back of the helmet, making play calls last year. I don't see you getting rid of him just to bring another guy in.
And that's a good point. And if you don't follow the NFL closely, you might not be familiar with it, but it's a tried and true method for teams year after year. So with the NFLPA and the negotiations that have went on, it makes it pretty much impossible for a player to hold out like they used to be able to. Because now if you hold out, they'll actually fine you. I think it's like $50,000 a day that you don't show up for practice. So a tried and true method that these teams have been doing is when you're in contract negotiations with a player who obviously is not going to come out there and play and risk the situation of potentially getting hurt and messing up those contract negotiations, teams will actually voluntarily put them on the PUP list. And what the PUP list does is it basically keeps them from having to participate or hold out and miss out on that $50,000, that $50,000 fine that they could be incurring. So an interesting situation with the Roquan deal is they did voluntarily put him on the PUP list because they were in active negotiations. They have now taken him off of the PUP list. So he is at practice. He is not participating, but he's there because he's not going to pay $50,000 a day to not show up. So that's an interesting situation. That tells me one of two things, and one of two things it tells us from a business perspective and a team perspective is that they are, one, actively negotiating, trying to mend the relationship with him to bring him back, or two, he's on his way out.
Yeah, definitely. And there's, like you said, there's a lot of things that go into this. I had listed down a couple of my best fits that I feel like I would like to see Roquan play. The first one I listed was the Broncos. The Broncos already have a pretty solid defense, but their biggest need is definitely the middle linebacker spot. They don't really have a major guy there. They did re-sign Josie Jewell to play middle linebacker, but they have a big competition to take that second spot. So I think Roquan, if you throw him on that Denver defense with Denver, already trying to make a push this year, I think he could be a really, really big impact player for them. And like I want to say that Roquan would be a very, very big impact player anywhere he goes, but this is just my teams. I feel like he'd be best fit. Ravens. The main reason I have the Ravens is because right now they have Patrick Queen. And Patrick Queen has been somewhat disappointing so far in his NFL career. He's not a bad player, but I think a lot of people had expected Patrick Queen to step up and be like a top 10, top 5 guy at that position. And he hasn't really, been that type of guy in the league. But I feel like you add Roquan to that and let Patrick Queen assume like a smaller role on the defense, it would be very, very beneficial. And obviously Baltimore's a playoff team, so I think that'd be a good addition for them. And then I have the Chargers. The Chargers this offseason, man, they already bolstered up the defense with Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. You go out and add Roquan Smith to that defense with the offense they have, the Chargers could be a legit team. And I don't want to be a little bit, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I think, they might already be there, but if they add Roquan, it might be the favorite to win that AFC West.
Yeah, it's an interesting division. Obviously the best division in football. You got four teams that could win it, and regardless, four teams that could make the playoffs with the new playoff structure. So, yeah, that would be a crazy pickup for them. And they already have a really good linebacking core, especially because I think they have Kenneth Murray. So you bring a guy like
Hmm.
Roquan in that second inside backer spot. Whoo, you talk about the best linebacker tandem in football. I know you see a team like the Bucks with Levante David and Devin White, but Roquan Smith and Kenneth Murray, they're definitely in the conversation if they can pull that off.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any teams in your mind, or obviously any playoff team I feel like would be a good fit for Roquan. Any team that wants to add a little bit of depth to that defense, a little bit of star power to the defense. Um,
Yeah, I would potentially look at a team like the Chiefs. We just talked about them in the AFC West and the situation there. Um, the Chiefs, obviously, you see them lose big name guys on the offensive side like Tyreek Hill, and they go all in and try the best they can. It's hard to replace a guy like Tyreek, but you replace him with depth is kind of the best way you can do it, and they certainly did that by bringing in Sky Moore, who is a very, very highly graded rookie coming into this year, and he's having an insane camp right now. And then obviously the big name guys like Juju and MVS coming in there. But on the defensive side of the ball, they had, is it Anthony Hitchens that's been their Mike for the past few years?
I believe so.
They lost him this year to free agency. I'm not sure if he signed anywhere or if they didn't bring him back, but right now at the starting Mike for them is Willie Gay. No shots at Willie Gay by any means. The guy's a second round pick from the 2020 class, but certainly that position could be upgraded with the addition of Roquan Smith. And the Chiefs have been a team that have made some moves. They just picked up, I think, Carlos Dunlap to come in and play defensive end for them, who is a highly graded guy, a noted player. Um, and I'm looking it up right now because I'm curious. The Chiefs do have just under $15 million in salary cap for the year. So that's a team that could probably, and obviously the salary cap is fake, guys. Don't let the numbers fool you.
Yeah.
Teams can make anything work if they want to, but I know inside linebacker has been a point of emphasis for the Chiefs throughout this offseason. And Willie Gay, you bring him in the 2020 draft class, and I think he's a good player, but that position could definitely use to be upgraded. So I would look out for the Chiefs here. They've been aggressive with some free agents and a couple signings that you wouldn't have expected them to make. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a push.
No, I definitely agree. The Chiefs are a team that they're one of those teams that you look at for almost anybody. Um, I know that there's a little bit of like Odell conversation out there too with all the major playoff teams. The Bills seem like right now they've come out as the favorite to land him. And me personally, I was expecting Odell to not sign anywhere until maybe week 7 or week 8 because honestly, he can do that. Like there he can kind of get the feel for the league and then hop on a team right away and just join a playoff team and just make them better. I wanted to interrupt right quick. Giants kick a game-winning field goal. Final score 23-21. So I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Uh, so Odell's going to be an interesting one, and yeah, just a little wrap up for a little bit of trade guys out there in the league right now. A little trade free agent guys. Matt
Yeah, I
Ryan.
think
Oh, go ahead.
I'll say one thing about the Odell situation. Shout out Pat McAfee. Um, they had Von Miller on the show today, and Von Miller kind of gave a little insight to the Odell situation. Obviously, Von Miller and Odell Beckham are really close, played together, won the Super Bowl with the Rams. Odell probably, people don't talk about it, probably would have been the Super Bowl MVP had he not gone down with that injury.
Yeah.
Um, so, but Vaughn touched on a couple things. He said, one, Odell's really just wants to win. So I think, and obviously he's coming off the injury, so that's probably a reason why he hasn't signed anywhere is he's focused on recovery. But I don't want to say it's a lock, but I think if Odell's going to sign with anybody before the season starts, it's going to be Buffalo.
Yeah, everything, all the signs are pointing that direction. So I agree with that. Matt Ryan. I want to talk a little bit about Matty Ice. I know we mentioned Matty Ice 1 or 2 podcasts ago. They released a video on social media, like a little 5-minute clip of him at training camp, and what a guy, man! The type of leader that Matt Ryan is on a field. I saw him out there with the young wide receivers, showing them the cuts he wants them to make on their routes. He was explaining to them everything, and you could like see the
Running the
intensity.
route.
What is it?
He was running the routes.
Yeah, he was like jogging, hitting cuts and everything. Like Matt Ryan is such a good leader, man. And I want to say he kind of like he seems like he's rejuvenated. Like it seems like he's excited to be in Indianapolis. Obviously, if Matt Ryan goes there and they play good ball, we're talking about arguably the best defense in the AFC, arguably the best defense in the NFL. So, you know,
Probably the best offensive line in the NFL.
and arguably the best running back in the NFL. The wide receiver
Yeah.
group's a little bit light, but I mean,
But a little bit slept on as well.
yeah, definitely a little bit slept on. They have some guys, on that team, and I mentioned Michael Pittman before. I'm really really high on Michael Pittman, and even seeing Matt Ryan and Michael Pittman work in the training camp, like it, I think that those two guys could come together and be a dynamic duo.
No, I agree 100%. Michael Pittman is a dog, and he and Matt Ryan already have a crazy connection. You saw in that 5-minute video, guys. If you haven't watched it, you need to go check it out. Especially if you're a Georgia sports fan, a Falcons fan, because it'll make you miss this guy. But yeah, I think the wide receiver room for them is a little bit slept on. They've got guys like Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell.
Yep,
Not to mention, some other guys like Kiki Coty. Is it Coty? Kuti? I don't know how you pronounce that, but
I think we always just make a joke about that name whenever we talk about him, so I'm not going to mention that on the podcast. We're family friendly.
So, the wide receiver group for them is definitely a weak point, but it's something that could be addressed. It's something that could be addressed as the season goes on as well.
Yeah, I agree. Tom Brady will be away from the Bucks for around a week, and I looked up NFL news, and this is one of the biggest things going around right now. The guy is away for a week, and I have an idea of what it is. I'm assuming that Brady had planned a post-retirement vacation, and
Something.
then he came out of retirement, and now he is taking his week vacation. And if Tom Brady
Yeah.
comes to the Buccaneers and says, "Hey, bro, I already paid for this vacation and I'm going to take it," you're not going to tell Tom Brady no. So
Yeah, what are you going to do? It's not like he was going to play in the preseason anyways.
exactly, it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, you look at the Bucks offense, look at the Bucks team as a whole. Really, it's a team full of veterans. I don't think that they're really going to be missing too much by missing Brady for a week.
Not at all. And a guy like Blaine Gabbert, he's a veteran.
Yeah,
So he's a guy that was going to play in the preseason anyway, so Tom Brady wasn't going to touch the field.
yeah, he's a guy you feel pretty comfortable with if any of your. I don't even want to say young wide receivers because I don't even know if they have any young wide receivers on that roster. I mean, we're talking about a roster that has Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, and Russell Gage as their top four, which might be the best four wide receivers in the NFL as a group.
It's another thing too that Russell Gage went down with injury this week.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it came out that it was a minor injury, which is good, but
Yeah,
from
I
the
don't.
initial reports, it seemed like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't have an update on him off the top of my head. I will dive into it as we speak. Yeah, he's listed as day to day.
I think he
Just
just
tweaked his
tweaked the
hamstring.
Okay, yeah, I think he tweaked the hamstring, so that's good. I heard like the reports made it seem scary. All the stuff I was seeing on
Yeah.
Twitter was like, "Oh, he's down." But yeah, he's fine. That's good to see. My next note I have, former Patriots running back James White has announced he is retiring from football, and the Super Bowl videos from the 28-3 game are all over Twitter right now, which is not very fun for us Falcons fans.
No, not at all. So James White, hell of a career.
Oh yeah,
Props to you, but man, that dude killed us.
yeah. Brady figured out that okay, all I do is have to just throw this ball to James White every play, and we will win a Super Bowl. So he did
And
that.
I walked it off.
Antonio Brown. That is another major talk going around the league right now. Antonio Brown came on Instagram. He had a very, very interesting quote, and I'm going to go ahead and quote it right here. This is the words from Antonio Brown. My biggest regret in my career doesn't involve calling my GM a cracker. It says explicit on here, but I'll go ahead and drop the word.
I think you get the pass.
I think so. Or showing up to Raiders camp late in a hot air balloon with frozen feet, or throwing rocks at the UPS driver. It definitely doesn't involve taking off my shirt off. This is his quotes. I did not misread that. And doing a victory lap around the Jets stadium mid-game while throwing up the deuces. He also misspelled deuces. I had auto-corrected it for him in my little thing right here. My biggest regret is that I'll never get to see me, Antonio Brown, play a game live. Sure, I can watch the games afterwards, but I can't imagine what that was like for you all to see something like that. Like watching the Beatles or Jesus perform at Red Rocks.
Dude's a head case.
Yeah, dude just watched he just watched Step Brothers, and he was high on 87 different prescription drugs for his CTE.
Yeah, shout out Tick Pick. If you know who Tick Pick is,
Cuz you better be careful saying that.
They are a ticket app and a ticket source where you buy sport tickets. I don't know anything about them, concert tickets, etc. With a banger quote tweet to this saying that AB higher than StubHub's fees right now.
Man, I thought you said something else.
I thought it was SeatGeek originally. It was not SeatGeek. Shout out SeatGeek as well. We use SeatGeek for Braves games. But no, it's a ticket app called TickPick. And
TICK.
TICK straight up quoted this and said that. So what a response from TickPick there. Shout out.
Okay, you get like one more syllable off, and we go from rated E for everyone to rated M for mature. So good pickup right there, Kenny.
Yeah, I'll spell it out if I need to.
All right, so that's all I have for the league. Just a couple of news updates. I do have I do have one NBA thing I want to talk about. Something pretty big happened today in the league. Just a league-wide thing. I don't know if you have anything NFL you want to talk about.
NFL or NBA?
NFL. Do you have anything to wrap up the NFL?
I don't think so. I think that covers it for me. I wanted to touch on the AB thing as well, so you hit the nail on the head. Shout out TickPick.
TickPick, thank you. The NBA. So today, the league announced that they were retiring the number 6 league-wide in honor of Bill Russell. This comes less than a month after he had passed away, sadly. RIP Bill Russell, NBA legend. Russell won 11 championships in 13 seasons. This is going to sound terrible. This is going to sound absolutely awful. If people can still wear the number 23, people should still be able to wear the number 6.
Yeah, and a question that surfaces in my mind when I read this is, how does this affect LeBron's legacy?
Facts. Is LeBron going to stop wearing 6 now? That brings me to my next note. Players already wearing the number 6 can still wear them. They are grandfathered in, kind of like Mariano Rivera with the number 42.
Yeah.
So it is very interesting to me, though. I understand. Like I said, RIP, this is nothing against you, Mr. Bill Russell. You are an absolute legend. But whenever the the untimely thing happens, and say a guy like Michael Jordan passes, like honestly, retire the number 24 for Kobe. Like Bill Russell was 88 years old, I believe. Like, he had lived his life, and he was an absolute legend. But I don't know if I get behind the retiring a whole number for just somebody that didn't I don't know if I can get behind that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously Bill Russell is a legend, but no, it was kind of a random thing to see. It made me wonder why they waited this long.
Exactly, like what? Because he died a month ago.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep it blunt, like that.
But it's a terrible situation, obviously, and but it does make you think because I mean, and it sounds terrible, guys, and I'm not trying to sound terrible.
You can't talk about it without it not sounding terrible. That's the tough part about this, but.
Well, Bill Russell's just one of the biggest icons in sports history. So if you want to retire Bill Russell's number, I'm in total support. I think you are too. I think anybody would be. But
I'm not. I'm not in total support.
Well, I'm not saying right now. I'm just saying in general. Like if you're going to retire a guy like Bill Russell, absolutely retire a guy's number. But he's not any more of a sports legend and what he's done for the game because he passed away. Like his impact on the
Exactly.
game of basketball has been for years and years. That guy is almost 90 years old. Like the the way that the game has changed since he came about, that is decades ago. So if you want to retire a guy's number, by all means, Bill Russell is, top of the list of numbers to retire, but it just seems random that it came at this point.
Yeah, and it's random. You wait until the guy passes away and you do something that no other league does. Jackie Robinson is different. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. It was a very, very important moment in all of sports history. Bill Russell was just a damn good basketball player. Bill Russell is a legend, but we don't retire numbers around the league because guys were good at their craft. Like we talk about, I'm not a hockey guy. I'm assuming Wayne Gretzky's number's not retired league wide in the NHL.
No.
And it's just a random thing, but good for Bill, good for his family. I'm sure it was a good moment for them, but I agree with you on the aspect of waiting till the guy passes away. It almost kind of seems like it's a publicity thing. Like, oh yeah, look what we did. Give us some props.
Wayne's Gretzky number is retired.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. They did it for Gretzky.
They did it for Gretzky.
All right, so let's do it for the fringe top 10 player in NBA history. I like it.
But I believe they did it when Gretzky retired.
Okay, I was
He is very much still living.
Yeah, he is. He is still around. I did want to mention a little final note on this. Lou Williams will be the last Hawk to ever wear the number 6. So, Lou Will, legend, Atlanta legend. Got suspended from the bubble for going to Magic City, getting some wings. So, had some fun times in Atlanta. That is all my That actually was not with Atlanta, but in Atlanta and the atmosphere. He's an Atlanta guy. Lou Will's a beast. That's my NBA stuff, by the way.
All right. Well, we got a nice looking little graphic that Jake and I put together.
Boom.
Here we go. We wanted to give you guys some preseason lines. We talked about it in past podcasts that we are whether you're a sports betting guy, whether you're a gambling man, gambling woman, however you look at it. The following sport lines is something that we do as fans in general. Just handicapping games is a hobby, and it's something that I think if you're an avid sports fan and someone who monitors sports closely, it's an interesting thing. And like I said, even if you're not going to bet on it, it's nice to know who's favored, what they're favored by, what the odds are, over-unders in general. So we wanted to get this out here. Week 1 in the NFL preseason kicked off tonight. We're going to see it Saturday and Sunday, and I think tomorrow too. So here are the 4 top lines that we picked, including the 2 from tonight. And we wanted to kind of go over our picks, give you some, our thoughts on what to look at for the preseason. And here it is. So, Jake, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, so I'm going to kick you off. Where do you want me to start? What is my starting point? Do you want me to talk about some bets I have actively? Because I have some bets that are already on the screen right here.
We'll start with tonight's games. So let me know what you had for tonight, and then I'll dive in there as well.
Okay, so tonight I had 2 bets in football. I'll go ahead and get my baseball bet out of the way. I did do a baseball bet. I did Orioles money line through first 5. I felt confident. They had old Dean Kramer on the mound. Orioles been on a hot when they were playing the Red Sox. That unfortunately did not work out for me. So I was 0-1 in the baseball today. But football side of things, earlier I had mentioned that the Giants kicked a walk-off field goal to put them up 23-21. I had the Patriots +3. So my bet hit. I'm 1-1 on that one. And then we go back to my other bets. I had Ravens -3. This is a parlay. Ravens -3. Pats +3. Titans, Ravens over 31.5. Let me just say, this was a $6 bet. It is going to bring me $40 practically. And right now, the Ravens are up 23-10 against the Titans. So they're over. The Ravens are covering. And I already covered the Patriots, baby. A little 3-legger to start the betting year, baby. This is my first bet of the year. First day back.
Let's go. Starting off hot, the only way to start off. My bets for tonight, I had Giants. They're at -3. You see them up there on the board. I actually caught them at 2.5. The line changed right when I placed. So I had Giants -2.5. Unfortunately, that did not hit the last second field goal to win the game by 2 points. That's unfortunate. And in the most characteristic fashion, I start off the year 0-1 on a last second on a last second field goal win. So. Now, however, to combat that, I also had the over in the Titans-Ravens game of 32.5. It's sitting at 33 right now, so that was a lock for me. So I'll start off the season with a very satisfied 1-1 in the NFL.
Nice. I mean, you can't beat it. It's better. It's better than some of those days that we have. Where we go, you feel so confident in your bets, and you're 0-4 on the day, 0-5. That's my biggest problem with the league. I will be honest with y'all. I like to look at the numbers. I will give my opinion on the odds, but I am not I'm nowhere near as efficient of a NFL bettor as I am a college football bettor. So I try. I love the league. I watch the games. It's just something about it, man. I see that crispy little. You'll see a game like Bills -5.5 against the Eagles, and you're like, oh yeah, the Bills are going to destroy the Eagles, and all of a sudden the Eagles lose by 5, and you're mad. You're like, how does this happen?
Yeah, that's how it always works.
Yeah, these odds makers know. Just they didn't know me today, boy. I was on one. I'm very happy with my start. I threw a nice little $45 wager at the Patriots earlier. So, them cashing out for me.
Nice
You
little
know,
yoon.
nice little yoon. So, we love to see it. It was a good day for me in betting. And, we continue that into tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. Continue that into the weekend.
So as far as Saturday games go, you see 2 games here on the board for us that we're looking at. The Panthers are playing at the Commanders. The Commanders are favored by 1. You get -115 on the money line. The over/under set at 37 in this game. I'm on the Panthers. I will be taking the Panthers money line in this game. +1 doesn't really move me at all. I'm not too big on that. So I'll take Panthers money line. I'm not going to touch that over, and I think 37 is a little too rich for my blood. But I want to talk a little bit about this because preseason is a weird time to bet games and a weird time to handicap games in general because you don't really know what you're going to see or what to expect. But I think we may have a diamond in the rough here, Jake. I think we have a hidden gem with these Carolina Panthers, and I think we might have a preseason wagon with this team.
No,
When you look at the NFL preseason and how it's been historically, it comes down to quarterback play. What you see is a team like the Bucks, where Tom Brady is not going to see the field, or a team like the Packers, where Aaron Rodgers is not going to see the field, and you see a situation of Jordan Love, a situation of Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, and that is an impossible game to project because you just do not know what kind of play you're going to see from those guys. But with the Panthers, an interesting situation here has arisen with the acquisition of Baker Mayfield to the team to where these guys have a bona fide quarterback battle. Now, it's been released this week. Baker Mayfield looks like an absolute stud in camp. He's playing amazing football right now, and it seems like he's got a hold on that number 1 job. But nonetheless, this quarterback battle is going to continue throughout the preseason, headed into the regular season. With that being said, we're going to see 2, whether or not you're fans of them or high on them, starting caliber quarterbacks in the NFL get significant PT in the preseason between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. And even if you take those 2 guys off the board, you look at the other 2 quarterbacks on their depth chart, they've got Matt Corral, the rookie, and PJ Walker, who has had a successful NFL career is a strong word because he hasn't been in the league very long, but he's had some good outings. He's played good football. So you got to think seeing a guy like PJ Walker versus whoever you're going to see the second or third string quarterback for some other team. I mean, we just saw some of the worst quarterback play we've seen ever in the Hall of Fame game with Kyle Slaughter and Jarrett Stidham and Nick Mullins and you see a team like the Jags who Trevor Lawrence and the backup C.J. Beathard weren't in the game, weren't going to play at all. So I think these Panthers, they might be a little bit of a wagon here. I'm not sure the status of Carson Wentz. I don't know if he's going to play or how much he is going to play. One thing that I will say about the Commanders is Taylor Heineke is there in the number 2 spot. He is obviously a very, very good quarterback. Um, he's a guy, whether you're a fan of him or not, it comes down to preseason, like I just said, to experience and playing time, and he's a guy that's seen significant playing time. So, but I'm not too sure if Carson Wentz does not play, which I'm not sure if he will. But if he does not play, Taylor Heineke might only play a couple drives or a
Yeah.
quarter at most. So you run the risk of seeing the Panthers trot out two, I don't want to say top tier, but preseason wise, top tier quarterbacks in Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, who are going to get significant playing time in this game. So I think the fact that the Commanders are favored is a little bit perplexing to me. I'm not sure why, but I feel very comfortable in taking the Panthers here. I will be on them money line. Like I said, I'm not going to touch that over under, but look out for the Panthers in preseason. I think we might have a wagon ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the game, and as you mentioned, I think it comes down mostly to Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz can come out there and play a couple drives, I think that we could see a little bit more Heineke, which is going to be very, very important. This is
Hmm.
probably going to be one of the better quarterback matchups you'll see in the preseason. Because even behind Heineke, we do get to see a little bit of Sam Howell, and I feel like Sam Howell is one of those guys you never know what could happen in preseason. He can go out there and be an absolute monster. But I mean, like you said, the Panthers on the other side of the ball have pretty similar thing with Matt Corral. So, if Wentz plays, then you could see some Wentz Baker, you could see some Heineke, you see some Heineke Darnold, which I'm not gonna pick who's the better quarterback. I think it is very, very close. It can go either way. So and then you can see PJ Walker or Matt Corral against Mr. Sam Howell. So I think that the quarterback matchups we could see in that game are going to be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah,
Also,
100%.
going back to a game that happened today. I don't want to get too far past it before I talk about it. The Ravens and Titans. Talk about a quarterback tandem for them Ravens. Um, Tyler Huntley, 16 for 18, 109 and one tutty. And then after him, Anthony Brown, former Oregon Duck quarterback, comes in. He goes 10 for 15, 117 yards through the air. Not to mention that Huntley had 17 on the ground. Anthony Brown had 14, so they both did a little stumping on the ground. But Anthony Brown going in the preseason being an absolute stud.
Well, you love to see it.
Yeah, yeah. I was a fan of him at Oregon, so I'll give him that. I was happy to see that.
And that'll bring us to the final game on the slate here for us. On the big board, you see the Saints are traveling to Houston to take on the Texans in a week 1 preseason matchup. The Saints are favored by 1.5 here. You can get them at -125 on the money line. The over-under is set at 33.5. This is Jake's pick, so I'll let Jake dive into this one.
So this game right here is a pretty interesting one to me. Um, I went with the Saints because I look at some quarterback stuff again. I know that the Texans have Mr. Longneck Davis Mills. Who's the Texans backup? You have that answer for? I'm putting you on the spot hard right there.
I'll pull up the depth chart while you talk about it.
Yeah, give me a depth chart up. Obviously we know that the Saints have Jameis, who's dealing with an ankle injury right now, but behind him they have Andy Dalton. If the Red Rifle comes out and he plays a couple drives, I think that he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL. So, the only thing is we talked about the same thing with Heineke. We're in week 1 of preseason. Like these are guys that if Andy Dalton goes out there tomorrow and his pinky's hurt, he's not going to play. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. But even behind him, you have a guy like Ian Book who was with the system last year. He knows about the system. I think he played pretty decent ball last preseason, so he's a guy to look out for. I liked him at Notre Dame when he was coming out of college. And then they have KJ Costello. So they have a couple guys that we can see go out there, some notable college guys that we had either seen in the SEC or in the college football playoff. So KJ Costello, former Stanford quarterback, went over to Mississippi State and played with Mike Leach, was not very exciting, but I mean, he's there. So, that was
And
my role with.
don't forget about Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom's a guy too. I was interested to see what they do because is Taysom going to be a guy that gets reps at quarterback?
I don't during the regular season. No, I don't think so. But he still has the quarterback structure in his contract written in there. So I mean, as far as preseason goes, especially trying not to get these guys super heavy PT with Jameis down. I mean, he's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised to see get a couple reps.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So we also have Taysom. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Taysom Hill.
Um,
Um,
Texans, I do have it pulled up. Their backup quarterback is Kyle Allen.
okay, so they have a pretty solid backup themselves.
Now he is listed as questionable, so I don't know how that affects LeBron's legacy there. But Davis
Oh,
Mills, I'm assuming Davis Mills is probably going to get the nod in the preseason game.
yeah, I think Davis Mills is a quarterback you start in the week 1 preseason game. I don't think he goes long. I don't see him going much past a quarter if he does make it through the first quarter, but he is a guy that definitely will get, a couple drives in.
And then at the third string spot for the Texans, we have NFL legend, um, Bengals and Lions legend Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah, and sorry, Florida fans. I want to mention that your quarterbacks like to sit there in the third string spot in the league, and we have a quarterback that just won a Super Bowl. So I want to say, like, I'm gonna be stupid. Let me click on his name first. Jeff Driscoll's from. Oh my God, I'm stupid. Did he not go to Florida?
Dude, I don't even know. I
Look,
couldn't even begin to tell you.
go ahead. You can go to the next one. I'm about to look this up because I
I'm
am
looking it up too. No, he
okay. He
went to
did play. He
Louisiana Tech.
No, he played at Florida and then transferred to Louisiana Tech.
Okay, so he's a Gator legend.
Yep, Gator legend transferred over to Louisiana Tech. Okay, so I was right on that. So we might see a little bit of Florida action going on.
There you go. So this game, I'm interested in this one from a couple angles. To me, it all comes down to Andy Dalton. If Andy Dalton starts this game, then I will most likely be on the Saints. However, I'm a big Davis Mills guy. Um,
I agree.
Davis Mills, he's a guy that we've seen some really good football out of. Um, he was a little bit of a surprise for some NFL fans. Obviously, the whole Deshaun Watson situation, um, that was a whole deal. But Davis Mills is an absolute dog, and I'll go out there and say it. I played Davis Mills in high school. He was the starting quarterback at Greater Atlanta Christian, and is one of the most dominant high school football players I've ever seen in my life. Dude came out there and slung like 400 yards and 5 tutties on us. Um, he's an absolute stud, and he really came into what a lot of people thought was a dead Texans franchise, and I don't know if they've got a lot of optimism or what we could see out of them this upcoming season, but I think they've got a guy in Davis Mills.
Yeah, I agree. Davis Mills is a beast. You can make the argument that he was. I'm not even gonna say it's an argument. He was the second best rookie quarterback in football last year statistically. So I mean, and that's a guy that came out in the same class as Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields.
Yep.
So that I think right behind Mac Jones, and Mac Jones just plays in such a quarterback friendly system for a guy like him. So it's kind of like unfair. But I think Davis Mills was the most impressive. Obviously, we don't see Davis Mills' upside as much as a guy like Trevor, a guy like Zach, a guy like Justin, but he came out and balled out last year. He did his thing. He earned that starting job, and he looks to be. I mean, they went out. They have Kyle Allen now, but they didn't go out and get one of those Andy Daltons, one of those Tyrod Taylors who
Rod
we watched
Taylor.
earlier. So I guess
Yeah,
they're confident in rolling with him. I don't see Kyle Allen as a guy that you really replace him with.
Davis Mills is a guy that started 11 games last year for the Texans, had racked up almost 2,700 yards in the air, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions with a 67% completion percentage. Those are good numbers.
Did he take Tyrod's spot?
Yeah, well, Tyrod obviously
He's a career bridge quarterback.
career bridge quarterback, career bad luck quarterback. The I think it was the Chargers put a pull cue through his lung in halftime of the game, and then Justin Herbert came in there and took over and won the game for him. And then he came to Houston and got into some injury trouble there. I mean, talk about bad luck, man. Tyrod Taylor. The Chargers were like, yeah, he's our starter. He's going to be our guy. And then Justin Herbert comes in there and turns into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Tyrod ends up on this Houston team, gets hurt, and Davis Mills comes out here and surprises everybody with a career rookie season.
Yeah, it's funny because before the whole I want to say it was the Browns that he had went to first to be to be Baker's guy. And before that, Tyrod Taylor was an above average NFL quarterback with Buffalo before they had made the move to try to get Josh Allen in that draft. But Tyrod Taylor was you could argue he was a top 15 guy in the league with Buffalo for 2 or 3 years there. So, we love
And I
Tyrod.
didn't,
He's you can tell he's such a great mentor. He has to be with how much success guys
yeah,
have had after, taking his spot.
I didn't even think about the Cleveland thing. That's a good point. He was the starter in Cleveland for I think a game and a half before he got
Mhm.
hurt or got pulled like 10 points down to the Jets in game 2, and Baker came in, led him to the win and never looked back.
Yeah, yeah, he's the career bridge guy. You put him with a young quarterback, and he's gonna work. Now, the one thing is though, I don't know if Daniel Jones is gonna be a project he can fix. We can root for Danny Dimes, the guy with the fastest quarterback in football, but I don't know if it's gonna be a likely thing to happen.
This is going to be the year for Daniel Jones, man. They've said it. This is a make or break season for him. Now, I will say if there is a situation and a system for him to thrive in and develop in, this is it. You get Brian Daboll, the guy who gets all the credit for developing Josh Allen into who he is, and you get Tyrod Taylor, who seems to make starters out of other players. So if there's going to be a season for Daniel Jones to put it together, it's this one. I don't know whether he does. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's another game I'm looking at. Just a little quick like preview for it. The Jets tomorrow or today, if you're listening to the podcast, are a pick'em against the Eagles. And I will say the Eagles do have Gardner, but we look at Gardner again as one of those guys that he's probably not going to play too many drives. Like if you watched today's game and you watched the Patriots, who was the fella? Ryan Hoyer, something like that, right?
Yeah, Brian
Ryan
Hoyer.
Hoyer, he came out, he was slinging the ball, looked good, and they pulled him, and then they put in my boy Zappy, Bailey Zappy, that was my guy. So even a guy like, and it's gonna be one of those weird matchups because I'm assuming that Flacco is gonna be the same way. I don't think that Flacco is gonna go very far either. But then you get to the third string, you have Mike White on the Jets side, and the Jets. One thing about the Jets is that the Jets have all these rookies, all these top tier rookies, and you know how rookies work in the preseason. They're gonna get some PT. So we might see a little Sauce Gardner action. We might see a little bit of Jermaine Johnson action going on. We'll even see a little bit of. I'm sure we'll even see a little bit of Mr. Breesy Hall on the run of the ball a little bit. So the Jets are another team that could be an absolute tank in the preseason.
Yeah, I like the Jets team in general, and I'm a big Zach Wilson guy.
So I look at them tomorrow against the Eagles. That's another one I have. Um, Honestly, I'm going to put money on the Falcons -1 against the Lions. I see a lot of people out there talking about how they feel like Desmond Ritter could just go out there and just sling the ball around the yard against the Lions. So I like our luck with Ritter against Blau.
I'm pumped to see Drake London.
Yeah, Drake London's going to be a ton of fun to watch. I'm also really pumped for Falcons fans for Arnold Ebiketie off the end. He's a guy that I was really high on coming out of the draft. So we have a lot to look forward to tomorrow, and I'm sure Felipe will make his way into the game at some point. I'm rooting for him. I have became a Felipe Franks fan. I will say, just seeing his training camp videos, dude looks like an absolute stud at tight end.
He looks good, doesn't he?
He does look good, and there's some defensive backs I've been seeing been playing with Kyle Pitts, actually keeping up with him. Like uh, I think like Tease Taylor or something like that is one guy that's been actually giving us some pretty solid reps. Obviously, Jalen Hawkins at the safety spot's the guy that we want to look out for. He's a guy that's probably gonna be starting this season all year long. The two safeties, Jalen Hawkins and Richie Grant. I think Richie Grant might have got hurt though, so he might not be playing. And this is just a young team. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch them Falcons play ball tomorrow. Get a little
Yeah,
Friday night 6 p.m. Eastern time action.
I mean, I'm just pumped to see football, man, especially when it's our team.
Yeah, yeah. I will be rooting for them hard. I don't. Preseason is one of those things that's kind of hard to bet on. Like just like openly talk about like, okay, I have this team because of this. So I don't really have anything else on the betting aspect of the preseason. I think we got our four listed. And let's just say we were pretty hot on the four.
You go. Yeah, it was a good day one for us. I'm hoping we can keep this momentum headed into future episodes and future weeks. So look for us to dive more into preseason once we get a little sample size with the games that we see in week one, and hopefully get some future looks for you guys.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think is that it on the betting aspect of things.
That's it for me.
I think that rounds out. I think that rounds out what we had to talk about today on the podcast.
Yep.
Well, it was a fun one. Kenny mentioned earlier during the intro. If you want to check us out on Twitter, I'm sure we'll be putting out a couple little spicy bets now that the football season's coming around. Kenny got the point down first try. See, whenever he's doing the introduction, I'm over here pointing all the way around trying to figure out which way it goes. Check us out on Peach State Tailgate on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We also have the TikTok, Peach State Tailgate. And thank you guys so much. This is episode 6. We've made it 6 episodes so far. And I think we've had one episode below an hour, and it was the first one. And we made like 56 minutes.
We look forward to bringing you guys some more content with football season right around the corner and some preseason football underway. We're pumped. It's getting into the time of year where you've got multiple sports to watch, and that's a breath of fresh air coming off of the dead season that was the early summer. So, man, go Braves, go Falcons, go Hawks, go Dogs, and that was a good episode. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we look forward to